On this episode of Schrage's Garage, we're going to save a few $100 on a legit workbench by making a few minor modifications to a crappy one, allowing us to spend more money on beer and track days. These style workbenches can be found on Craigslist for free or next to nothing. They're kind of crappy and wobbly, but there's only two things you really need to do to get them a lot more rugged and sturdy. It was pretty wobbly when I first got it, so the first thing I went ahead and did was seam welded it top and bottom on all four corners, and that helped out a ton. After I finished seam welding it, it was as sturdy as I wanted it to be, but the only thing that's been bugging me is this crappy wood top. So that's the second modification we're going to do to make this pretty legit. To fix the wood top problem, I went ahead and ordered a 2 foot by 4 foot sheet of hot rolled steel. It's 10 gauge, and that should be exactly what we need to do to sturdy this thing up even more. Let's go ahead and get this crappy old wood out of here. The steel I got, it was probably about $40. You can get it a lot cheaper if you go to a local metal supply store. They're all banking hours, so I was never going to get there on a Monday through Friday between 9 to 5 because of work. So I went ahead and paid a little more. I ordered it from metalsdepot.com. It was pretty reasonable. It was like $40 plus shipping. Let's get rid of this piece of crap. Oh god, that's heavy. It's about 55 pounds. I'm hoping for a good fit because I don't feel like cutting this. There we go. So the angle liner at the first two corners is kind of, they're too tall and it's not fitting in. That's got to get cut anyway because this is a lot smaller diameter. It would stick up and I don't want it sticking up anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that and test fit it after that. So let's go ahead and cut that. Alright, let's see how it fits now. It's probably completely unnecessary, but I kind of want to put another brace over here. So I need to find some metal that I can do that with. Is that long enough? So I found this piece of scrap metal. I'm going to put it here to brace. But if I just tack it in right there, the metal's still not going to touch it because it's not level with this. It would have to deflect a little bit. It would be fine, but if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So what I'm going to do is slightly grind this down so this will sit flush with the top side of this, and the sheet of metal should touch it all the way completely. Now you can see how it sits, just a little notch it out, and it'll sit right there. So the top of this will be flush with this. Now I just got to do the same to the other side. Go from there. Look at that, don't even have to hold it up. There we go, dead on 2 feet. And we're square. I'm not really going to prep it. I don't think it needs ground down or cleaned or anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and weld it. The welder I have is a Hobart Handler 175. It runs on 220. I got off Craigslist for $500 with the gas bottle, welder, and stand, so you can get a pretty good deal if you look around on Craigslist. Now that the cross support's in and sturdy, I'm going to go ahead and just grind a little bit along the edge so I can run just probably a couple inch beads all around to keep the table on the top. Just want to get everything lined up pretty good, and I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna get some acetone and wipe this down. This is probably coated when they ship it so it doesn't rust, so I just want to clean any of that stuff off.
Came out okay. I could barely see with the visor fogged up, but that gets the job done. There's not going to be that much upward pressure, and that'll be plenty. There's one final thing you're going to want to do. You're going to want to kind of clean up these sharp edges with the flapper disc. So I'm just going to take the flapper disc and put an angle on it just to get that sharp edge off along the whole side. So there you go, a cheap $50 workbench. It's a workbench that looks like it skipped leg day, but it'll get the job done. All you got to do is go on Craigslist, find a crappy one, seam weld it, put a metal top on it, and you're good to go. It's not quite as pretty as the $300 or $400 ones, but with that money you're saving, you can go buy some beer and sign up for a track day.